What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to building a ridiculous rock crawler out of a Jeep Liberty. But it's gonna work. Kinda. So some of you have already seen that I have entered to be a part of the Bleepin' Jeep Beast Wars. So I have to make sure this thing is done. In order to get this thing done, there's about 473 things I have to finish on it before October. Assuming I get voted in, I hope I do. If not, I still need to get it finished. So I'm going to start back on my axles today. What I'm doing is I'm going to link and lock the rear end of this thing. Now, I've been saying from the start that I'm building this thing on a budget. I'm trying to do it as cheap as I possibly can. That being said, now I definitely have to keep this thing as cheap as I can, because if I do win this opportunity, this spot for the Beast Wars, and I take this thing down to Windrock and someone wants to buy it, I have to sell it. So I definitely need to keep this thing as cheap as I can. I am going to put a locker in the front of this still. I'm on the hunt for one. So if you have one for a Ford Dana 60, let me know. I'll try and buy it off of you. So less talking, more working. Let's get the welding this rear end up. So these really aren't that bad to weld up. It has these openings on three different, on all three sides of it. So all you do is kind of reach in there and kind of weld the gears up down in there, and do it on both sides. You flip it over and try and weld on the lower side too. Now you want to tack everything. Try to tack everything together before you take this case apart. That way you keep the preload of your spider gears and all that stuff, and you don't have any issues when you go to tighten this thing back together. So let's get the old welder out and see if we can snake it down in there and get some of this stuff welded. It's all set up. Let's see if we can get this thing to weld. Side's tacked. Alright, let's see if we can tack this up. See if we can get one of these to line up good enough to tack together. I think we can get it right. I think we're tacked now. Yep. Alright. Now that we're tacked, we'll flip this back over and take it apart. There we go. one thing to really kind of keep in mind before you take this apart, I went ahead and took all my bolts out, but you need to mark it. That way when you put it back together, you put it back together the same way that it came apart. I usually like to put 2 lines. I usually use a paint marker, but this is going to have to work. I can't find my paint marker. So, but once you have it marked, you can pull it apart. Set it somewhere nice and clean. Alright, so now you can see a little bit better. I got a tack here. It's not pretty. I got a tack here, and then right on there, right down there, you can see. So all the gears are tacked together the way they need to be. So now I can pull the spider gears out and really get a good weld on them. Well, just as I was putting a few more tacks to kind of hold the gears together a little bit better before I pull it out, I ran out of welding wire. Now, off to Harbor Freight we go. Got it. Oh yeah. Back in business. With Harbor Freight, got my stuff. Let's finish tacking this up so we can put it back together and then take it back apart. Well, I did that a couple times to make sure all the fitment and everything's going to be right. So, let's go. Alright, let's put this cap back on. Make sure it's right. Make sure everything's still going to fit in there the right way. Alright. There we go. There we have it. It is completely welded. It is sitting there cooling down right now. That sucker is hot. Alright, well, it's just about cool. I did put a couple more welds in there. It is actually a little hotter than what I thought it would be, but it is done. I'm gonna go find some food, and when I get back, that should be completely cooled off, and I'll be able to put it back inside the carrier and bolt all that back together and slap that thing back in the rear end. Once I get that done, I'll try and show you just exactly how it works. It's basically a spool, but a cheaper version. So that's what it's all about. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so once your spider gears are cooled, go ahead and drop them back into the carrier. Just make sure you get all your shims back to where they're supposed to be. Go ahead and grab the cap for it. Drop your cap on. Make sure your orientation is right for your, those white marks we made earlier. Make sure they're on there. And now you can go ahead and put your bolts back in. Now what I like to do is put a little bit of Loctite on these, because you definitely don't want these things coming apart or coming loose. While you're out on the trail, out there trying to have a good time and your rear end explodes on you, that ain't good. So, a little bit of Loctite. Now these do have a torque spec to them. These torque to 90 foot-pounds. Very similar to the caps, which torque to 88 foot-pounds. So I'm going to snug these up with my impact. I'll get them torqued down, and we'll get this sucker slapped back in the rear end over here. Alright, let's see if we can put this back in there without smashing some fingers. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. That was crooked. Completely crooked. Alright, so again, carrier's in. Did give me a little bit of trouble, but it's supposed to be a tight fit. So now it's time to put the end caps back on. So again, some people don't do this, but I do. I like Loctite. I like putting Loctite on stuff, especially rear ends, because I do not like them coming apart on me. So yeah, go ahead and start these. Now what I'll do is I'll run these up with the impact, and then I'll torque them down to spec. Stay. Alright, well, I'll get these run down and torque to spec. Alright guys, so I've kind of been all over the place. My axle's ready to go in. It is missing some brake parts, but it's ready to go back in. I'll finish putting it together once they all come in. What else have I been doing? I've been kind of bouncing around a lot, and it is freezing out here, so I'm going to be going in a minute. But what have I got done? Let's see. There's the axle. It's ready to go back in. My link arms are painted, primed and painted, ready to go. Let's see. I've cut out this section back here of kind of like the rear fender area, kind of where the bumper and everything sits. All this here, cut all it out. It looks like crap right now, but I will get all this cleaned up and patch that with some sheet metal and, you know, make it all look a little bit better. Haven't quite decided what I'm doing with my bumper yet. I may just close it in and call it good for right now. We'll see. So yeah, it does look like crap right now, but it will look better once I'm finished. As far as the other side goes, I have not touched it yet. It's all still intact right there, but I'll kind of show you what my plan is. My plan here is I've kind of got it all trimmed out, or well, not trimmed, but marked out. So it's going to come across here. It's going to follow the line of the light all the way over and down, kind of this line here, over and down. So all of this, all of this, all of this, all that stuff is going to be coming out, everything down here. So I'm going to try and get it all trimmed away, and once that's out of the way, I'll be able to put my axle back underneath of it and get all my brake parts put together, put my actual tires and stuff on it, and flex this thing in the back to make sure that I'm not going to have any other rubbing issues. So Holy cow, can you see how cold it is? It is too cold to be out here. It is time to go inside. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. And make sure to go vote when it's voting time. Vote for this friggin' sweet Liberty right here. It's going to be one of a kind, that's for sure. So again, thank you guys for the support. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like the video and share it with all your Jeep Liberty friends. Hopefully, the next time you all see this, the rear axle's underneath of it and the tires are on it. I'm hoping. So, give this thing a little flexy in the rear. But anyways, thanks again. Thanks for the support. Subscribe, share, like, all the good stuff. And I will see you sometime next week.